close to a moose.
Quiet, everybody, be quiet if you're watching. We are in Clearwater tonight. I'm Allison Morrow.
Hi, I'm Allison Morrow.
I'm Allison Morrow.
And I've gone to a lot of places.
On St. Pete Beach, Allison Morrow.
And now with my former Force Recon Marine husband, I'm going off-grid-ish.
We are coming to you from paradise.
What do you think that is?
I think it's moose. Yeah, I lucked out. I was doing some training for a law enforcement agency, and it just so happened that a couple of very close and dear friends of mine live nearby, and they've been living now. Well, this will be 3 generations now. The type of lifestyle that Allie and I hope to be able to achieve. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I'd like to come out and visit, and Allie and I would like to get some information and pick your brains and see what it's all about.
We're in an undisclosed location, we'll say that. Yep. Undisclosed location in the middle of nowhere. We drove tens of miles on a dirt road to get to where we are, and we're in kind of a canyon, so they have 240 acres out here, and you would think they have like 1 million acres because of the way that the property is situated. There's mountains and cliffs and lakes, and they're in sort of a canyon, so even though there are people that away, you don't really see them, which is really awesome because you do feel like you are the only ones out here.
Good job. Good job. Yeah. You're not gonna bite me. You're gonna bite me. Yeah.
We got here right when we saw Kip, Lynn's friend, who's the son of the guy who bought this property dozens of years ago, Don, and they're building his homestead, his house.
81 and 5/8.
Awesome. His timber frame, basically, right?
It's a log cabin, yeah.
Log cabin. Jake and I are on top of the house, what will be the second floor, right?
Yep.
Actually on what will be the floor. Jake is only 9, and he's building his own house. What do you think about building your own house?
It's fun,
Why?
because you can walk on tall stuff.
Lynn, what are you holding right now?
143 and 3/8. It's right now it's going to be his floor, but ultimately his subfloor for the second floor of the cabin.
The cool thing is his kids are helping build this house, which is really neat. What is your favorite part about building a house?
Helping my dad.
I mean, the thing's going to be bomb-proof when it's done.
Our house is like bomb-proof.
Yeah.
Speaking of bomb-proof, the original owner here, this was his literal bomb shelter to protect himself from the Russians in like the 60s. That is like a legit built into the ground bomb bunker.
Right here is Fluffy, the nice friendly chicken. Our faucet of clean water.
Straight from the ground.
Under
Just
it.
put my mouth under it.
Yeah, and then like.
That's good. We know that they have the same lifestyle that we eventually want to have, that we're working on right now, which is what this channel is about. Kind of this, like what you see around us, not much more, not much less, just living with nature and slowing down the pace of life.
And this is Snow, the cute little bantam. So she's tiny. Once I took her in 4-H and I won grand champion.
I have noticed that like when you want a lifestyle like this, it feels like relationship is more meaningful and you are more serious about your friendships and you do more for each other because you depend on those relationships really for survival in some cases. Whereas like in the city, I really think that people have more shallow relationships because they don't really need each other in the way people needed each other 100 years ago or need each other when you're homesteading and you live out in the middle of nowhere. So because of that, they've been so generous to us here. I'm taking a donk fee. Donk fee, right? Donkey selfie, donk fee. Get it? Yeah, so they have a couple greenhouses or geodomes or something, and they have plants and little chickens that they just hatched. All right, so you guys like chickens?
They're not my favorite.
And the cool thing is, like, the kids are really involved in the life out here. They know how to take care of the chickens. They taught me how to pick up a chicken. Oh, how am I doing?
Great.
You can hold this.
Okay. He's a little chick.
That is Specs. And I named him that because of if you look on the top of his head.
He's got speckles. Actually, they just handed it to me. I didn't really pick it up, but I can't take all the credit. The kids are way braver than I am, but the chickens were nice. So what's this one's name again?
Fluffy. Fluffy the chicken.
Okay.
Does
Fluffy lay eggs?
No, I named that one. No,
Or is Fluffy gonna be dinner?
Oh no,
She's an
Fluffy
egg layer.
is an egg.
She's an egg layer, okay.
It's Specs. They're not my favorite. My favorite are reptiles like snakes and lizards and stuff. Yeah.
Fluffy's gonna eat. Oh, maybe?
Do you want to eat?
You wanna eat?
Wait, don't.
I guess not. And the neat thing is they take these chicken eggs and they deliver them as a trade to the neighbor, and by neighbor I mean 25 minutes down the dirt road, who has goats. And they get goat milk, which is really cool. So I got to go meet the goats.
It's good milk too.
Yeah, it's raw.
She milks her goats every morning at 7, and we trade 3 dozen chicken eggs for about a gallon of goat milk.
And right from their neighbor, who also moved out here, really not with a whole lot of background in like homesteading necessarily. Now they're gonna end up being outfitters, where they're gonna take people like hunting and horseback riding, and they just kind of fell into it. So it does show that you don't necessarily have to have a lifetime of experience in order to do this. You've got to figure it out.
So this is the Nettie Tree, and way up there somewhere is a sign that says Netties Tree, and I'm gonna climb it.
How big is this tree?
Probably like 60, 70 feet.
And you're gonna do it with no gear.
Yep.
Just you and the tree.
Yep.
Here we go.
Look it!
You're all the way at the top.
Oh, so I am. Well, can't climb any higher.
When Kip and I talk, often between each other, like, this was a lifestyle he was used to. He grew up to this.
Right.
And so when I was growing up, like, this was something I was always interested in. And so, I asked him, I said, how weird was it for you when you, joined the Marine Corps and then you found yourself smack dab into civilization again? And he's like, yeah, he enjoyed it. But then at the same token, he said, yeah, it's nothing like this. And one of the big things that, he and I talked about, because sometimes we have a tough time, dealing with stuff because, just some of the things we've been through. He said, but out here, he said, no matter how you're feeling in the morning, you get up, you're aggravated about something or upset, like you come and sit out on the porch and you look out at this and have your cup of coffee. It's really kind of hard to be upset about anything.
Wow. Last night had elk. So
elk steak, yeah.
Yeah, we ate elk that they hunted off their own land.
They harvested off their own property, yeah.
And that's how these kids are used to eating, which is phenomenal, everybody out here. But while we were grilling them, and they have this lake behind us, we're out on this boat, and what do we see? A bull moose. Right down at the lake, comes down and takes a drink.
You guys got about 20 yards away from
We
him, too,
were
in the boat.
pretty close to that moose. Trying to keep our voices down, right?
So be real quiet.
Quiet, everybody be quiet if you're watching. And I was trusting my life to an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 9-year-old.
I mean, that close to a moose, we were like, how How many yards was that, Trey? You're like 5 yards away, like 15 feet from a bull moose who could have stomped us, but he didn't.
So that was fascinating. But you know what? In news industry this day and age, you get what you pay for. And so nowadays my camera crew is below the age of 12. That's fine.
Is that counting me too?
Yeah, well, you act like you're below the age of 12.
Awesome.
But anyway,
Thanks,
so we got really close to that moose, and it's just like, you just sit back and you're like, these people are not on vacation. This is like real life. This is literally what they do. When the sun went down, the stars here are just incredible. And you could see the Milky Way. You could see, like, just clear as day, just thousands and thousands and thousands of stars, because we are at 9,000 feet. We also hiked up to the overlook to see some of it, and you know, just thought about, like, obviously in the wintertime, life's harder out here, but even from that vantage point, it's like, okay, this is why we really want to do it. There's a trade-off in life no matter what you do. Being out this remote, you know, in the summer, it's gorgeous and like, what's not to like? In the winter, I think it probably gets a lot tougher, but this is the thing, it's like, we decide where we want to have stress and take time and put resources no matter what kind of lifestyle we live. So you may think, like, living out in a remote location like this, man, that's a lot of work in some ways, right? Like getting your car up the drive or going to the grocery store or keeping yourself warm. But we put a lot of effort and energy into, like, stressing out about work and commuting in traffic, and the life that we're going for is one that takes all the time and stress from that kind of lifestyle and turns it into the time and stress of homesteading, which is where we want to spend our time and energy, instead of the city life, which comes with its own set of time and stress. We just don't necessarily realize it because it's just the conventional way everybody lives, and we just accept that that's the normal way of doing things. But to me, that's the waste of time. This is the time that I think is well spent, just building character and building a life.
I think it's not so much of, like, having the idea of, like, all of this is mine. I think it's more of the idea of just, like, this is what my environment is, and just having space, you know, and being really deliberate about relationships. It forces you to be deliberate. This is exactly the kind of the idea of, like, the terrain is what where we would hope to live. I know Allie really loves this kind of, like, Sierra Nevada, like, sagebrush, right at the edge of where you start getting into, you know, in the winter where it's going to be, you know, a decent amount of snow, but you actually have seasons, actually have a summer. But I mean, if you look at just where this is all at, it definitely gives you the feeling that you're away from civilization.
But anyway, I mean, it's really been kind of a lesson in, like, being able to see what it is that you get yourself into when you choose this kind of life. And I don't know, you asked me if I think I can still do it, and I think I'm sold. I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those things where you get here, and maybe it's not for everybody, but life just feels a lot more real. Just like, you just rip the curtain and you see everything this much closer to you. Like, you smell it better, you see it better, you feel it more. Like, granted, there are things here that take a lot more time. Like, they talk about bulldozing their driveway in the winter, and what, you know, the winters can be really harsh here. They said they just finished snow season basically back in April. So, and they have it starting in October. So that's tough, but
well, that's the summers are very important for preparing for winter.
yeah.
You know, you have to harvest game, you have to
Get
you know,
yourself canned.
can all your vegetables, can all your, you know, in fruits too, so you can get some of that vitamin C and that stuff, and preparing the grounds maintenance wise to be able to handle the winter. And but it's a different kind of work, you know, you know, you're working to survive, whereas, like, for us, we're working to work.
We're working to pay someone else to supply our basic needs.
Right, yeah.
So now we just want to, like, cut out the middleman and supply our basic needs and have our time go towards that.
Right.
And people may think that's crazy. I mean, if you have technology all around you, why would you want to work hard doing this other stuff, but I don't know, there's a lot of freedom out here. A lot of freedom.
It may be slow going, but I think we're actually being very realistic about our process in doing this. And so, you know, once the real fun's going to begin is once we start making these steps. But it does take, you know, I think what a lot of people fail to see is the amount of planning and effort that it takes to be mindful about what it is you're doing. And, you know, there's a lot of minutiae detail to all this stuff. And, you know, and it's not just a financial thing, it is an education thing. You know, we're educating ourselves as we go too, so it's tough.
It does make me feel better that they bought this property in the 90s and are still working on it today, so it's just a process. Slowly you just start saying, what I used to think was quiet is actually not quiet enough. Anyway. All right, well, thanks for coming along on the journey with us. We hope you enjoyed this video, and leave us any comments or questions. We'll see you next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye.
See ya.